We're talking about the newish back foot pad from Float Life. They sent this to us for the GT. It is the Kush Wide. Why would you want it? What's my complaint about this thing? Is it for everybody or is it just for those that are trying to solve foot fatigue? Let's get it started.
If you just got a Onewheel, you need to do this with your friends. Look at my friend helping me.
Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Scot Mendenhall, and we run a YouTube channel that is very dedicated strongly to Onewheels. We do a podcast at 2:30 Central Times every week on Wednesday. It's a pretty rad podcast, so you should already subscribe for that. And then we do reviews throughout the week on products that we have questions about that maybe you want answers to. But we have a lot of Onewheels that are rolling with the Nug High, which is for the pint. My kids love that back foot pad. And some of the reasons they love it is it has eliminated foot fatigue. If you don't know what foot fatigue is, have you ever really rode a Onewheel then? It happens typically when you change something out, a new tire, or you're brand new to the sport where your back foot falls asleep. This is one solution to eliminating, as we pop this open, to eliminating that back foot fatigue problem. And let me tell you why. The GT stock fenders are made out of plastic, very hard. They don't absorb any of the bumps or the trail rocks or any of these things, whereas the Kush Wide does. It's made out of some kind of composite that is very flexible. Not as flexy in the back, but it's got a lot of cushion to it. Now, I know there's a play on word in the way they call it Kush, but it's to remind us that there's a little bit more cushion involved in this. Not only is there a little bit more cushion, the way they've designed it, I'm gonna call it a cup or a pocket for your foot to sit in. It not only is concave to the back, shouldn't use that word because that could get confused with the concave foot pad. It doesn't come off very well. There's just a pocket in here, that cup I was talking about. It sits there so nicely. Whereas here, it almost feels like you have concave up and down, but this contour, this is not big enough. Like you see the thickness of the concave foot pad, not as near as thick or flared up as that. That's almost double the height, which gives you a nice little dish. Let me find the flat kick. It's got a bigger dish as well. Flat kick from Onewheel next to the Kush Wide is almost as thick on that tail part, which is a nice place for your foot to sit. But it also flares. See the flare here, an angle? It comes out and it flares on the left and the right, which gives you the wide feel to it, which allows those with big feet to go, I enjoy this. This only comes for the back foot pad because this is not a sensor set where you have a front foot pad by Float Life for the sensor. Coolest thing they do add, they go ahead and do this for free, I think is genius. They send you an extra front foot pad sensor grip tape so your foot pads match in grip tape. Also, let's just talk about grip tape for a second. This is their trail version of grip tape, which is very coarse, but it's still got that flimsiness to it, which is important for your front foot pad sensor engagement. You want that. Coarse, but flexy. Now, who's this for? Is this for everybody that just has foot fatigue and big feet? Let's compare it to the latest drop from Onewheel, which is their back flat kick foot pad, which is what I'm rolling currently. Not bendable at all. Your foot, your knee, your arches and ankles are going to absorb all of the shock from drops and trails with this back foot pad. But this has a flare again. You can see where it comes up. It does not flare out this way or to the left or the right. It actually narrows on this. It comes in towards the rider and not out. Maybe you can see here the opposite of the two. The bottom one is flaring and the top one is inverted flaring. It goes the opposite direction. Let's slap this on. Let's give it a test. Now, full disclosure on this before we get there. It's been snowing massively out there. Like, we've got over 2 feet of snow. It's beautiful. Riding Onewheels has slowed down a little bit for us because they gotta get the snow everywhere. Trails aren't groomed quite yet. And so we've got to pause on that. The other thing I know about this foot pad, again, because we've experienced them, when you ride these in cold weather, This freezes and is almost equally as stiff as this. These are great for warm weather climate. And you get what the creators or the designers did for this. You get the same sensation they want. But the minute you get out there and below freezing, where I ride, this freezes and it begins to lose its shock absorbing principles. Just a side note, not everybody rides in Minnesota like we do. Let's slap this on. Let's bonk a little bit just to really make sure that the same things that are true of the other Kush or the nugs that they've made in the past are very true to this. Babe, can I move this table?
Yes.
And bonk inside?
Yes, I'm just grading papers.
Did you catch that? We're gonna bonk inside. Why is that, Holly? Why are we gonna bonk inside the house today?
Because it's so cold outside and there's not a lot of places without snow.
And we don't want the back foot pad to freeze up and then us not to talk about how comfortable it is, because that'll happen here. We're gonna bonk inside. Look at that guy.
Well, we got lots to clean up.
We're gonna move the table. We're gonna bonk inside.
You're bonking?
Yeah.
All right, I'm about to do it.
Is that not awesome?
You're gonna break a wall.
Get out of here. All right, Lily's up, Lily's up.
I don't want to do
Keep
it.
your hands on your pocket. That's not your
I
ride.
just don't want to do it.
You got it.
I don't want to break anything.
You're not going to.
Stop. I'm not doing this anymore.
That wasn't even my fault.
Yes, it was. You made me nervous.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Again, this is my foot. And my foot hangs over just a little bit, but it's like right at my toes and heels. It's very, very comfortable. I ride a little bit more like that. That little pocket there is super nice. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. We get a ride inside. What a great day in Minnesota to ride a one wheel inside the house. Subscribe to the channel. We'll have more reviews. Like I said before, we got a podcast that we are constantly dropping every Wednesday. Give this thumbs up, share it with somebody. We highly recommend Float Life's back foot pad for the GT, known as the Kush Wide. It's comfortable. It just hugs your foot so well. I can imagine in the trails this being amazing. We will try it in the trails when the snow ceases to exist, but that's months from now. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this makes sense to you. My biggest issue with this Kush Wide for the GT, I don't like the cosmetic of it. I don't need the wideness. I like when you come to the pints, the nug, you have the nug wide and high. So here's your nug wide. It flares out. It flares out back here, and then this is the high. It follows the line. I want the flare gone, and I want to be able to have that look. So if they can come out with this wide, not wide, but high, I would be all for that, because the comfortability is priceless.